This recipe is a keeper. It's been around for decades and some people call it dozens and dozens or 5 dozen biscuits or cookies. I like to call it the anything cookie. The basic recipe produces a beautiful butter cookie, but then you can split the dough up and add whatever you want. You can add chocolate chips or cranberry and white chocolate or ginger or lemon and ginger, date and ginger, roll it in coconut. They make delicious jam drops and they convert beautifully to gluten-free. They freeze, just wrap the raw dough up, pop it in your freezer. When you have unexpected guests, pop them out of your freezer, slice them up in the oven, and you've got beautiful homemade cookies a few minutes later. The recipe only has 4 ingredients and one of them is a tin of condensed milk. And this is why the recipe makes a lot of cookies, because how can you halve a tin of condensed milk? And what are you going to do with the other half anyhow? Whoever invented this recipe, thank you so much. My name's Lee. Let's get cooking. Now don't be alarmed at the amount of butter. This recipe makes a lot of cookies. Take 500 grams of soft butter. You can use salted or unsalted. Then add 12 tablespoons of sugar, and you can use white sugar or raw sugar. They both work great. And the third ingredient, 1 full can of sweetened condensed milk, which is 395 grams. Using an electric mixer, mix these ingredients for a couple of minutes until well combined and the mixture has become a little fluffier. If you don't have a mixer, don't worry, just use a wooden spoon and a bit of muscle power. The final ingredient is 4.5 cups of self-raising flour. You don't have to sift the flour. I sift it because I always sift flour, just a habit. Then put the flour into the bowl with the butter mixture. I knew it was going to puff up, so I combined it a bit first with a spoon. Beat it with the electric mixer until it comes together and forms a dough. Don't do what I do, use a bigger bowl. I only use this glass bowl so you can see the ingredients, but normally I would use a bigger one. Tip the mixture onto a floured workbench and knead it a little until it is smooth, and then form a log shape and divide the dough up into rough portions. It was my intention to make 3 different cookies with this batch of dough. With the first lot, I flattened the dough a little, then put a good 1/2 cup of chocolate chips in the centre, then I smooched it all together again. I then decided to add a few more chocolate chips. You may need to lightly sprinkle some more flour over the top as you work with the dough. Then I formed the dough into a big log shape, cut it in half, and half was headed for the freezer and half I set aside to bake later. Using the same method, the next batch of cookies I made were cranberry and white chocolate, which is a really delicious combination, just using white chocolate chips and dried cranberries. I also cut that long log in half, and half was headed for the freezer. With the third bit of dough, I made jam drops. Just take small portions of dough and roll them between your hands to form a small ball, and place them on a paper-lined baking tray. Make a little indent in the middle of each ball using your fingertips. Then spoon a little bit of your favourite jam in the middle. Alright, I'm going to put these jam drops in the oven. I've still got a bit of dough left and I haven't made this one before, but I'm going to make a lemon and coconut one. So I've got some lemon extract, it says it's natural, so I'm going to put 1 capful in, maybe 2. Oh, I've made it a bit wet, smells good though. I'll just roll this one in the coconut. Lemon and coconut, Mike should love that. So as you can see, it made so many logs of cookies. And you can roll them into any size you like. You can have them smaller like this or larger like that, up to you. I'll be baking cookies all day today. So these are off to the freezer. The cookies are easier to slice if you refrigerate them for 15 minutes or so. But all you can do is slice them, and if you like, you can make them look pretty again. My jam drops are nearly ready, so I'm going to put some of these other cookies on a tray and pop them in the oven. A bit rustic, but they will be delicious. And there's the jam drops. They took about 13 minutes in a 180 degree conventional oven, no fan. And you wouldn't want to take them anymore, but you have to keep an eye on them in the last couple of minutes. Every oven is different, but they look pretty good to me and they smell so good. Choc chip ones, they look so good. Cranberry and white chocolate. My house smells so good right now. I think I overdid these littler ones because they were cooking with the bigger one, probably all the same size. Would be better. Now for my gluten-free ones. So this is going to be the mixture for my gluten-free. It has got the same 3 ingredients. Using a bigger bowl for less mess, I'll mix it all together. So 4 cups of gluten-free self-raising flour, and I'll see how that goes. So that was 4 large cups of gluten-free self-raising flour. It feels a bit stickier, so I might have to add more flour. And it's easy to add more flour, just flour your workbench. It all depends on what sort of brand of gluten-free flour you use. Right, this is a lot of cookies for me. Never had this many cookies. So I'll just sort of roughly divide it into 4. And the first one I'm going to make for myself is jam drops. By the way, that's the lemon ones. They look beautiful, the lemon and coconut. I bet you can make neater cookies than I do. I'm a bit of an impatient cook. I've got some blueberry jam in the cupboard. That would be so nice in jam drops. I'll pop them in the oven. With my next ones, I've chopped up some crystallized ginger, which I love, and some dates quite finely. Well, I chopped up a lot, so maybe I'll need some more dough. And then I'll knead that together for a bit until it's all mixed. So that's date and ginger. Gluten-free. I'll just set that aside for a minute. And the next one is, I just like a butter cookie. I love a plain butter cookie, so I'm not going to add anything to these. I'll move that along. I might make a few choc chip. And I'm going to put white chocolate and milk chocolate in them. I might have to take some of this other butter one, so I've got more dough here. I think that could go a few more choc chips. And my last one, I think I'm going to do lemon. This time I'm going to grate some lemon rind as opposed to use the lemon essence. Just the rind of 1 lemon. Maybe lemon and coconut. Have to mark them somehow so I don't get them muddled up with the non-gluten-free ones because they all look the same, to be honest. So many cookies. I think the next one I'm going to cook though is just the plain butter cookie, or at least a few of them. Because the dough's quite soft, you might have to reshape them. Nothing added, just 4 ingredients. And this is a really fun thing to do with kids too. They can customise their own cookies. And there are the plain butter cookies. These gluten-free cookies are better than any gluten-free cookie you can buy in the shop. And I bought a few. They're delicious. And I've got a bit of a kitchen mess to clean up because I always make this terrible mess when I make a video. Thank you so much for watching. Try these. These are really, really good. And they're quick and they're simple. And they're actually cheap to make because you make so many cookies. Mike and I won't have to buy any for a couple of months. See you next time.